Good afternoon, Hillcrest family. Welcome to another edition of the HCC at-home virtual series, golf education section. Today we are going to we're going to talk on the ins and outs of a golf club, the specs, what makes it the club it is, what features on the golf club make it, for one other person. So what makes a shaft for somebody, what makes a head for somebody, what goes behind kind of a fit, and kind of what we're looking at physical stature wise, swing wise, and all that fun stuff that we look for to help get you the most correct tool in your hand to give you the greatest advantage or chance to play your best golf. And that's all we're trying to do when we try to get you fit into clubs. Yes, me, Mark, and Brett in here, we're all on staff with different people, but we're not sitting here pushing only one product, our product, at our consumer or at our members, you guys. We go into a fit with a totally open mind. We don't have any kind of prejudice against any other manufacturer. We want what's the best club for you in your hand. And I can say that with 100% honesty and facts, because that's how it is. I don't sell Cal every time. Mark doesn't sell TaylorMade every time, and Brett doesn't sell Titleist every time. We want what's best for you, and we will do our best to get you with the tools you need to get to be the best golfer you can be with your golf clubs. So we're going to work kind of our way up. I have a pitching wedge in my hand. Not a pitching wedge, I'm more of a sand wedge. I have a sand wedge in my hand. We'll kind of talk about wedges, the bounce, the length, the flex, all that stuff, and kind of move our way up until we hit the drivers. And it's kind of, we'll go the same way down the line here. So the first club I have, we'll actually go in numerical order. The first club I have here is a 60-degree wedge. And on there, I'm not sure if you could see, it's kind of small red lettering. It says 10S. 10 is the bounce of the club. S is the grind of the wedge. A whole bunch of different grinds for these wedges, especially Vokeys, Titleist. S is one of your most versatile grinds. I'm not going to sit in here and talk about grinds. That'll probably take up most of our time. So I'll just tell you that this certain type of grind, S, is one of your most versatile grinds. It's not meant for any one kind of shot. It's kind of the person who plays a bunch of shots, likes to manipulate that club face. That is what an S is for. But as far as 10, we'll get to 10 because 10 isn't going to take as much time as the grinds will. The bounce, the higher the number, the greater the bounce on the golf club. And the greater the bounce, the more room or material or metal we're going to have down here on this part of the golf club here, okay? So the balance is key if you're somebody who likes to, like I said, maneuver your club face, okay? You like to manipulate your shot, and you like to use the bottom of your club to kind of skip off the ground. You're not a digger, okay? If you come in like this and you're trying to dig and create a big divot with your wedges and a lot of people equate that with spin, not the case. But if you're trying to dig at the ball, create that divot, hit down on it, you don't necessarily need a lot of grind. Anywhere from 8 to 10, that'd be perfect for you. 10 almost might be a little too much. The grind is for players who want to skip that ball off. They want to open their club face. They want to use this off the ground instead of using this leading edge. So this leading edge is this part right here, the very bottom of the club face. The leading edge leads right into the bounce. So I'm not sure if you can see the bounce, but it's all this right here for you, okay? And if you look, we're going to just do a quick demonstration. So this is how a lot of wedges sit. The kind of club face up, where weights forward, and we kind of have that back of the bounce up off the ground. So you can see the back of this isn't quite on the ground. That's flat on the ground, open club face, not open but square, because the bounce is sitting down. And then if I move that, people who want to dig, people who want to hit down on it, all that stuff, you're going to see a club face that resembles kind of like this. You see the back of the bounce here is off the ground, and I'm not going to be utilizing that. The more your hands are forward, the less bounce you're going to have, okay? You guys see that there? I move my hands forward, my weight's forward. I am trying to dig at that ball. I'm not really trying to use that bounce. If I go back, move those hands back and whatnot, Boom. I still have that shaft lean I want. I don't know if you can see that. I still have that shaft lean I want. It's perfect. And I'm still using all that bounce there. So people who like to move their hands forward, they want to get their weight forward, really just press down at that ball. You don't need a lot of bounce for yourselves. Like I was saying, 8 right around that range. If you want to use that bounce and you want to be able to clip it off the ground, or if you need to be out of the bunker, it's also great out of the bunker, because we all know after Mark's great lesson in the bunker that we want to get this club a little more open, a little more flat to our target. Having more bounce is just going to help us hit off that sand, get underneath it, and kind of flush that baby out. So the bounce is great for working out of the bunker, multiple shots, and like I was saying, person who wants to kind of skip it instead of hit down on that wedge. And last part of the club we're going to talk about is this cool little design piece. If you're Titleist, and actually a lot of clubs are doing these, Callaway is, Titleist is, and so is TaylorMade. But we do have an option to design our wedges here, guys. This is one of our pros, this is our head pro, Brett Kleinkopf's wedge. You see he has some cool detailing there with some dots, and has one of his son's names right there, Hudson Dean. So just want to touch on that. If we want to do any kind of custom wedges for any TaylorMade, I think Ping is doing it as well too. So all 4 of the main manufacturers, we can add a cool little specific custom engravery or detailing on there, which is gaining a lot of traction and becoming very popular nowadays with how custom things can be. Okay, so now we're going to move down to a 58 degree. So this is a 58, so 2 degrees less than that 60, and it's a 12 bounce with a D grind, okay? So the 12 bounces, I'm going to have even more surface down here to bounce that club off the ground and use. And it's 2 degrees lower, but it's two more notches bounce higher. It goes from 10 to 12, then 60 to 58. You might think, well, why if I want to go lower in degrees, might I want more bounce? Doesn't matter how much degrees you have on that club. If you're a person who likes to work that bottom of that face, use that ground as almost like a springboard. You could have a 14 degree bounce on a 58 degree versus someone who doesn't use their bounce and they have a 60 degree with a 10. It doesn't matter. It's totally decisive on what kind of style chipper and wedge player and pitcher you are. And that's why it's great to, if you're not sure, to get one of our help, to go out there and do a chipping lesson. And we can kind of see what you do first off and what you're comfortable doing. And then we'll go from there on what kind of grinds and what kind of bounce you need. Also, what kind of elevation. That 60 degree wedge is not something that everyone needs. I would say 58 should be the more common loft wedge. 60 degrees and up are getting to I guess it's getting real tricky. It's a harder club to hit. It's a harder club to master. I wish we could all be Phil Mickelson type, but we can't. So I would advise, if you're not used to having a higher lofted wedge, to work our way up instead of jumping just straight into a 60 degree. But first off, foremost, figure out what kind of wedge player you are. Do you want to dig? Are you trying to hit down on there, or are you trying to use that ground as a spring and really be able to manipulate your shots using that bounce? And also, last part, you see this wedge has a graphite shaft in it. A lot of wedges now are very customizable with their shafts. The standard wedge flex comes in almost every other wedge, but you can customize it and put a graphite wedge to match your other clubs in there. So just don't think because it's a wedge doesn't mean we can't put a graphite shaft in there for you. A lot of them most of them come stock graphite shaft or steel shaft, but we are able to get something like this in there for you. Okay, now we're going to move up to our irons here. So I got 2 different irons here. We'll go one first. This is a Titleist 1 AP, or not Titleist 1. This is a Titleist AP1 iron, okay? This iron is going to create a lot of forgiveness. It's going to have a lot of muscle back on there. Muscle back meaning it has, you see those thicker irons, a lot of, and almost not junk, but a lot of stuff going on back there. It just makes the club a little bigger. Plain and simple, that's forgiveness. It's a muscle back feature to help you get that ball in the air and help it go farther, get that ball going off the face harder. But you are losing a bit of workability and feel and whatnot. When I say workability, I mean being able to manipulate that ball to either go low right or low left or high right or whatever it may be. You want to work that shot. That's what we're sacrificing with these muscle backs, these forged irons right here. Not forged, but these heavier irons, the thicker looking irons. That's what we're losing in that. And that's why you see a lot of the pros on tour, they have those skinny irons, those blade irons. And those are the ones that create that huge ability to work that golf ball and also feel it. They want to feel where they miss it at. They don't want to just miss it on the toe right here and still get away with a great shot, like a lot of us amateur golfers do. If they want to miss low right, they want to feel every part of that miss. So this is a game improvement iron. This is an iron for those who want to see the ball go higher, go farther. They want to see that ball come off hotter. They want to see those instant feedbacks without having to change too much of their golf swing. These are those game improvement irons. The other irons were to show you more of a forged type iron, more of a blade iron. Those are the ones where you're still going to get those distance if you have the proper type of club head speed and whatnot, but you're going to lose the workability, the feel, all that stuff that can kind of take your game to the next level once you think you're there and ready for it. But it's not for the faint-hearted at all. It's not for those who are, I would say, not someone who's shooting around scratch each time. You don't need those blade irons. I know it looks cool, it looks sleek, it looks awesome, but if you're not shooting around par every time or dang near close, and you're up towards, the 8, 10 handicaps up there, I think I would advise you to go towards a more of a muscle back, more of a thicker, more of a game improvement iron. It's going to be better for your game in the long run, and it's not something to be embarrassed about. It's just something that it's just going to help you. Each club is different. We don't need to take or use clubs based off what your buddy's using, because he's hitting a Titleist AP1. It's a blade. That's his clubs. Let's get the clubs that are best for you. And this is those AP1s, not specifically the AP1s, but this type of club, game improvement irons, is a great way to get that game going to the next level. And now we're going to talk about the kind of other end of that spectrum. And this specific club's AP2 right here. But what I mean is the blade, kind of more forged type iron. As you can see, it's already a little thinner. A little sleeker looking, not much going on this back here, just simple, like a butter knife almost. These are those clubs that when you hit them sweet, boy, are they sweet. It's like you don't even feel a golf club, but it takes a lot of skill to hit these clubs consistently for a extended period of time. I play blades, forged irons right now, and I have my off weeks, not even days, my off weeks where I just feel like I can't hit the center of the club face. These are for those who want to, like I would keep saying, is work those golf shots. Everyone on tour, if you ask someone on tour, they hardly ever just go up to a shot and say, I want to hit that straight. They always see a better side of the green to come in from. They always see what the wind's doing. They always kind of see what shot shape that hole requires, that shot requires. Not just going up to a shot, seeing the pin, and they think, okay, I'm just trying to hit a dead laser at that pin. They're trying to draw it in there, fade it in there, what it may not be. And that's what this club's going to do for you. It's going to allow the most workability, allow you to manipulate and maneuver that golf shot. And also going to allow the biggest feedback immediately in that club face. So if I miss one on the toe, miss one on the heel, I'm going to know right away in my hands where that ball missed, and then be able to adapt and fix that on the fly. And whereas with the more the muscle back, the more of the game improvement irons, you're not going to be able to feel it as much. You're going to have to go off of a couple shots and kind of feel in the same spot. You're not going to know right away where that ball was. So those are the two biggest difference in these irons. As again with the wedges, we can get graphite irons or graphite shafts in all these irons. Not so much in the blades, in these forged irons, because a lot of times if you're hitting these, you don't need a graphite shaft. But any standard iron, if you want to go into graphite shafts, we can get those offered to you. And I won't go into a full fit type mentality, but graphite shafts are for people who this flexibility, this stiffness, this heaviness is just too much for them. They want to be able to have a lighter golf club in their hand, not feel like they're swinging something heavy the whole time. Also allows for lighter or higher launching for most of them. Allows for better contact for those who don't swing as hard. So there's a lot of reasons why we might choose a graphite shaft, and that's why we always, whenever anyone comes in asking us, what kind of club should I get? The first thing we always say is, let's get you fit. We never just give recommendations based off what our conversation is about. We want to get you downstairs on the monitor and get you fit. So please come find us after we're done. When we're able to do fits again. We would love to get you guys all into some irons that you need and that can help your game the most. Now we're going to move up from the irons and the wedges to the woods and the hybrids of your bag, okay? And right here, I have myself a 4-iron, or not 4-iron, a 4 hybrid. I apologize. I'm fumbling more than I usually am today. But I have a 4 hybrid here, and this loft is a 22 degree, okay? So what this is going to take place of your 4-iron. It's going to be something with obviously more back to it. It's going to allow us to hit that ball off the ground easier. Those long irons are tough for you, and they are tough for a lot of people. Boy, I would say a long iron, 5-4, 3-iron are some of the hardest clubs in your bag to hit. So if that's the case and you feel like you're missing out on something, hybrids and rescues came out, or they got big, I would say about 10 years ago, some of that range, and they've kind of just stayed the course since. They were just instant improvement clubs. You put an iron in somebody's hand who was showing with their longer irons, and they saw instant feedback, instant improvement, instant ball flight going higher, farther, whatever it may be. These were just kind of a saving grace at the time, and there still are. But there's been so much advances in technology where they're making the long irons with more of a muscle back on, able to kind of catch up to these. But this is something that's going to be great off the tee, great off the ground for those long shots. What's not going to be great for these compared to a 4-iron is out of the rough. So if we're in some thick rough and we're still like 250, 200, 180 yards out and it's hybrid range, we would want to have an iron in that case, just because the thinner type material on that iron, it's almost like I said, a butter knife that's going to slice through that grass a lot easier than this will. This is a good chance to get caught up and grabbed by that rough with this back here, right here. So what's going to help you on the short grass and off the tee to get the ball higher and longer is going to hurt you out of the rough and whatnot. So if we're looking to get that distance off the tee box and off your 4-iron, 5-iron, and you're a straight shoot and you hit it generally straight, you just want that more oomph to it. Hybrids are going to be a great one for you. But if you find yourself someone who uses your iron a lot out of the rough, so if you could find yourself hitting a lot of long iron shots, I would suggest sticking with your high iron. But these hybrids and rescues, I would say, changed the game when they were first introduced to the golf world, and they really haven't stopped changing it since. And this one specifically here is a Sim Max. It's tailor-made. It's their new brand. And as you can notice, as we get into our next woods, you're going to see most of them have the ability to take the head off with a tool. I'm sure most of you have seen that ability with a lot of your woods and hybrids. This specific one does not have that capability. This means it's a bonded head. Manufacturers are now kind of going one or the other. They're not allowing every club to have that ability to take the head off, and you see it mostly in the hybrids and the woods. All the drivers still have that screw to where you're able to take it off and work the head a little bit. But now, I think now more than you've seen in the last 3-4 years, the hybrids are now going back to just bonded heads, not being able to take that head off. Alrighty. Next, we will work into some woods. And I got 2 woods here for you, just 2 different manufacturers and 2 different kind of head types. So this one right here is your Callaway Epic Flash. 3 woods, now that I'm talking about it, I would say 3-woods are probably the hardest club to hit off the ground versus your 4-iron, 3-iron. It's basically just a mini driver. It's really hard to get this club with as low loft as we have to have the proper swing type and not come in too steep to get that ball in the air. But as you can see on this head, there's a few things that we can adjust here. I have a weighted right here, or a weight right here that I can take out and take in and put something heavier and put something lighter. So if you're swinging that club, you can say, okay, I can hardly feel my head. It's like that shaft's so heavy. I don't even feel that club going off that ball. Let's get a heavier screw in there and see if we can't weigh that head down and give you a little more feel in that face. If it's too heavy, if you say, okay, I just feel like that club's lagging behind me and it's just I can't get it around, then we'll get a lighter weight in there. But really cool feature. You'll see a lot of clubs now that have the ability to change a weight in your head. Also huge for the feel and the impact of your club having the proper weight in there. And also you're going to see what I was talking about earlier, which is this ability to take off the head and adjust the loft. And adjust a bias and adjust your head draw fade. This one does not allow for the draw fade bias, but this one will allow for us to manipulate the degrees on it. So I don't know if you can see it, but I have a 15-degree club right here, okay? And we'll do a quick little tutorial on what these letters and numbers mean down here. And so that way, if you have a tool and if you have a head that has the ability to do this, you're able to do it whenever you want. You don't have to come use us, which we still please happily come use us. We'd love to get you squared away, but just having the knowledge to know what these mean so you can do it at any time whenever you want. Besides on the golf course while you're playing, because it's illegal to do that while you're on the golf course while you're playing. Okay, so I had a 15-degree and I had it set at sorry. We're just going to neutral standard to start. Perfect. So I have an N there and I have an S there. I don't know if you can see it, but the top one says N and the bottom one says S. So that means neutral and square. You will see every club, unless ordered otherwise by us from the manufacturer, because we fit them into something that's not neutral and square, your standard loft or your standard setup. Every club will come like this. This NS feature, that means it's a 15-degree. There's no adjustment upright. There's no adjustment to the loft, no adjustment to the face. It is neutral and square. And then so there's two different tongs. If we want to ever go up one, we can just see a +1 right there. So if I want to make it a 16-degree, I have the +1 on bottom. So first thing you do is find what degree you want to go up. So there's a +1, there's a -1, and there's a +2. So first and foremost, find which number you want to do, and then put that on this little white tally there. I'm not sure you can see it, but that's where it goes off of right there, that white tally. So I want to go -1. So I have -1 on the top because there's no -1 option on the bottom. And now I have the D, okay? What does that D stand for? What's that D stand for? Well, that's going to be a draw face, okay? That D is a draw. Remember, we had a neutral and a square. So neutral being no added loft, and a square being it's a square face. So this is going to add a little draw bias to it. So right now, if I were to crank it back on, it'd be 14 degrees, a little bit of draw bias. Now we're going to work. Now let's say I want to go +2, but also keep it neutral. So I'm going to go +2 on top, and then that N on the bottom, neutral right there. And that's +2, so I made it a 17-degree, and now I'm back to a neutral face. There's no bias at all whatsoever on that face. And the last one, the option on here, is going to be your +1, okay? +1, and then we'll go to a N face on the top, or N on the top, neutral on the top. Perfect. So biggest takeaway from this is find out what you want to do loft-wise first. Do I want to higher it or do I want to lower it? Great. So if I want to higher it, I'm going to just mix these up. I want to higher it 2, Kade. Okay, there's 2 on top, but I don't want to draw face. So I'm going to move the bottom to find neutral. Awesome. And then +2 goes into there, +2 neutral, as we are. Then I'm going to get my club back onto it, my head, I mean. And all I want to hear is 2 clicks, and I'm ready to go. We're still waiting. Okay, lock secured back on. I'm in that +2 neutral setting, and I now have 17 degrees aloft and some neutral face. So that's what the cool thing is about these woods nowadays and these drivers, the ability to customize it even more so just with the head, not even working with the shaft, just with the head. If you're seeing a ball flight go too low, if you're seeing the ball flight go a little too, fade a little too much more than you're accustomed to seeing, being able to make a draw bias or adjust the loft higher, lower is absolutely huge. And most heads are going to allow you to do it without needing a book or needing our help here in the shop. Like I was just describing there, it's pretty easy once you know what the N, S, and D mean. But there are certain companies like Titleist here that don't have that ability. You see there's an A, B, C, and D, and there's a 1, 2, 3, and 4. To be able to adjust this club to your liking, you're going to need one of these Sure Fit books. These come in any driver Titleist has or any wood Titleist has. This comes in the packaging with it. So it's not like you're going to order a Titleist club and not have this resource. You will have it. But it's just a matter of going in and being able to read their chart. And it tells me, so if I'm reading this is a right hand. I want to check bottom left for the hand. And then it tells me on the side, I need to go down 0.75, up 0.75, or up 1.5. And then I can do adjust, fade, or draw based off where I go left to right. So left is more of a draw, right's more of a fade. So say for instance, I want to add 0.75 degrees aloft, and I want to have it be a little more flat. And this is something that not all the wood couldn't do that, and not a lot of the clubs can. But this one allows you to adjust the upright or flatness of it. So I want to go up 0.75. So I'm going to go up to 0.75, and I want a flat. So down here it tells you upright, standard, or flat. This says flat 0.75. So I'm going to go flat 0.75 and up 0.75. So I'm just going to meet in the middle, and that tells me C4. That also tells me it says higher and flat. So it gives you 2 spots where it tells you it's higher, flat, or it's higher, lower, or upright or flat. So I meant that C4. That's what I want. That's going to give me a flatter club. So I'm going to get that shaft a little flatter, and I'm also going to add a 0.75 degrees loft on that. So I'm going to have just quick math, 10.25 is going to be my driver loft. And we'll just quickly go ahead and do this. And we're going to go to, so we told us C4. And with this one, the bottom number will not move. The bottom number rivets will not move. Like the wood here, both those are LD worked. The numbers will stay the same on this one. I'll just move the C to the 4, and then I will put that dot right here above my combination. So I have C4. I'm a little more flat than I was. I had a little more loft, and now I'm ready to hit that ball a little straighter, a little higher. Boom. That was a little more than 2 clicks, just for safety. All right, guys. So we kind of went through wedging up, the ins and outs of what we're looking for when we do fits, what kind of characteristics a club can hold, and also what kind of characteristics that you need in clubs. We don't need somebody who hits the ball really far, really high, and hits their long irons good to switch to a hybrid. We don't need somebody who needs to get the ball a little higher, needs to get that club speed up, and also is having a hard time with the swing weight to be in a stiff or a steel flex. We could use that in a graphite flex. We don't need somebody who is digging in the ground with their wedge and is just creating those divots and just wants to see them roll out to have a 14-degree of bounce. Just kind of stuff like that we went over today is the small nuances to golf clubs and golf fitting. I did not touch on everything. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of things I missed. It's hard to go over everything in a certain amount of time across a subject as expandable as it is clubs and club combinations. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Hopefully I was clear enough. I kind of got going a little bit there, but hopefully all you guys are able to watch this video. It's going to be great information for any kind of future club purchasing or club fitting, not even with us, but with anybody. So don't be hesitant to ask us. This is a video where I hope you get some questions on, saying, do we really need that kind of club if we do this? And I think it's going to be a great informational piece for you guys, and hopefully something you can take away and look at your own bag and be like, do I need that club? Can I get better in this area with the setup it has? So thank you so much for tuning in. As always, hope everyone's staying safe, staying healthy. Thank you so much for being so great with these videos and giving us great feedback. We love it. We will see you guys here in a little bit at 2 o'clock for the next golf education piece. And definitely